So can you explain then how you have sort of advanced TV and omni-channel together? Is it this notion of data-driven, or is it something bigger? Like, what does omni-channel mean for you?
In this instance, we're really talking about more traditional channels where data maybe has played lesser of a role, or it's been more, kind of third-party data research that you're applying to the channel. We're looking at what are the ways that we can really advance the channel with either data we have, knowledge we have, different transaction types and transaction strategies that we can bring to the channel. All of those things are things that we're trying to bring to channels that historically maybe haven't operated in that way. And so TV being one of them, but also radio as a reach driver. Terrestrial radio still reaches 95% of people on a weekly basis, and I think people discount that all the time. And what are the ways that you can really bring kind of that thought leadership to the radio space, just as you would maybe to TV or to out of home?
Oh, cool. Okay, that makes sense. Talk to me about kind of how you define advanced TV and maybe some of the questions you get or misconceptions you run into kind of what it means, or maybe what it should mean.
Yep. I get a lot of questions about, can you do an advanced TV landscape for a client or a brand? And a lot of times they want me to specifically only focus on addressable at a household level, or data-driven, or more like OTT, CTV at a one-to-one. I think that kind of cuts off a whole other aspect of what should be a total approach to video. And all of it can be advanced if you're evaluating it, planning it, and measuring it in a way that really transforms it from more of a static plan, where you're going and executing a plan, to something that you're thinking about optimizing, and maybe not in real time, but maybe in more real time than we have historically. And so a lot of my approach is, you need to understand what each of the channels can do for a brand or a client, so that you can better plan and optimize based on their needs. So most plans still require some form of linear TV as an efficiency mass play that can give them a CPM advantage that they're just not going to get if they put all of those dollars in OTT. And I think that's the challenge. Like, what is the payoff? What is the role of that one-to-one that can give you an ROI that would return on the cost, versus the balance of that efficiency play that you get from mass media? And really giving them a landscape view into those things has been the challenge for me, because I think that's what the opportunity is not just to put it all in one bucket of what can be targeted at the discrete level, but what are the things that we can do to make those more manageable and more data-driven across all the different ways and types to invest.
I would say we totally agree. I mean, so there's a definitional thing. When people hear advanced TV, they have a sense in their mind of what that might mean. But then there's the larger strategic question of, there are all these ways in which we can communicate with consumers. How do we think about the right mix, about the right balance, driven by the kind of consumers we're trying to reach, or the product that we're talking about here, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the big challenge, because I think we all go immediately to what can we do in digital and apply it, and then that means it's only this end of the spectrum. But in reality, if we only look at that end of the spectrum, we're not bringing to bear all of the real thought leadership we can from the digital channel, and just adjusting our perspective to see what we can bring. And I think that's been the challenge.
So what are you excited about going into 2020 in the world of television?
Well, I think this upfront was really interesting. I think there was a lot.
Tell me why. Yeah. I'd love to know.
I think there was a lot of clients taking different approaches to the marketplace than they have historically. I think that you saw TV's broadcasters make, both at cable and network, broadcast, making changes to the way they're selling, right? And really thinking about, okay, if I'm aggregating content, what are the ways that I can leverage this for the dollars versus just selling my linear inventory? So Pluto, being part of the Viacom upfront was a change that historically we haven't seen. And I think we probably will see more of that happen as they understand it's not about a C3 or C7 window against total ratings, but really what are the ways they can control their content across an ecosystem to really deliver more for the advertisers, as well as kind of managing what they can control. Even though they may not control every platform it's viewed on, they still have ownership of the content, which is a big piece of the pie.
Do you think that advertisers brought different mindsets to the upfront in terms of what it meant to negotiate for content versus sort of linear broadcast?
I think that, I refer to it as kind of 9 years ago in digital. It was the Wild Wild West. Everybody was running all these ad networks and DSPs, and some people had DMPs, some people didn't. The advertisers that were willing to take risk and kind of understand that, like, yes, I may not understand exactly what I'm buying right now, but I need to jump in early and build kind of learning and understanding of what these new channels can contribute and how to equate them to what has historically been a GRP or a TRP, depending on the advertiser, those are the advertisers that we're seeing in TV that are also applying that same risk perspective. Like, I'm willing to take the risk now because I know that I'll be a year, 2 years, 3 years ahead of competitors that are looking for, the same eyeballs or the same content or the same ratings or the same places that they can find value when everybody's kind of looking for the same day parts right now or the same audience, right? And I think as they understand more, they're able to say, what's the value to me or to my brand? And then they're able to take it out of the marketplace and apply value to something that's much more meaningful to them. And so I think you see some of our clients really setting themselves up within this upfront to make those changes, but it's a 3-4 year vision, and they know that it's like tiny twists of the knob each year as they can go and more forcibly ask for the things that they want versus, I think I might want this, but I don't know. And as they get more learnings in the next year, 2021, I would expect they'll have even more things that they'll be specifically asking for within their T's and C's around transaction type and volume and scale and different ways that they're buying versus just a standard GRP against a demo.